I think eventually, if men start talking enough, you become red pill. That's just the truth. Like any man who's honest and like sees things clearly, you become a red pill misogynist piece of shit. It just is what it is. What? Like if you're honest about the way shit is, that's just how it goes. I didn't want to be that. At my core, I'm a romantic, bro. I want to fall in love, hold hands, do all that cute bullshit, but it's not possible. They will abuse you until you're weak and then leave you. And that's why the resentment builds up, and I just fucking like, I see the same like I'm just meeting you for the first time, like, yeah, that guy hates women. I get it. I hate women too, bro. Like it builds up. It's not really your fault, bro.
The red pill community is a philosophy of hatred. The clip that I just showed you is solid evidence that these men are bitter towards women. As he stated at the end, I hate women too. If that is not enough to convince you to turn away from red pill, I cannot help you. I make this video in the hopes to educate young men on why it's important to have standards for yourself. You see, as a man, if you go out there and you keep finding yourself dating the wrong type of woman, look no further than the man in the mirror. You have to take accountability and full responsibility for the quality of woman that you choose. I will never stop repeating that until the day I die. It is a principle that I stand upon. You cannot sit there and point the finger at the opposite sex when you are not using your logic and reason to discern if a woman is wife material or not. So many men today make decisions based upon feelings. And one of those emotions is, of course, their lust, upon which they have no control of. And this is why they make terrible choices when it comes to getting involved with a woman. And instead of being mature and realizing, you know what, there's something I'm doing wrong here, let me change my outlook, let me assess what type of woman I date, let me pick up a Bible and get right with God, they come on the internet, they seek fame, they want clout, and they don't make any changes in their lifestyle. They keep getting the same results because they keep doing the same thing. These guys are boys. They care about crying on the internet and being validated by other weak men who make the terrible choices that they do, because misery loves company. See, now the video is going to get good because I'm going to break the whole thing down. This is the problem with men today. They are soft and effeminate. Now, there is no shame in being weak, but there is shame in staying weak. There is no issue in admitting that you're missing a knowledge gap. The truth is, most men have grown up in dysfunctional homes. Single parent household, you didn't have a father or you had a weak one. Your mother was messed up. Some guys have been brainwashed by a degenerate society, corrupt media, feminism, red pill, godlessness. This has caused them to be emasculated, weak, insecure, and empty inside. So it's no wonder that so many young men hop on the internet, see all of these red pill coaches and these modern dating gurus, and they eat up their advice. If you don't have self-respect, self-control, integrity, strength, honor, or seek righteousness, then how can you ever expect to have high standards for yourself? You see, these men haven't made a single change in their lifestyle. They go to the clubs, they sit there on their podcast with OnlyFans models and women who are in the adult industry. They sleep around, they drink, they smoke, they live a fast life, they live for pleasure and vanity, they're superficial and insecure, and then they complain that they can't find a woman that's wife material. Yet, the women who want a family, the women who are traditional, who are modest, who value their sexual purity, they turn away from these men. And they are too lost in their pride to see that. So what do? They come on the internet and they start pointing the finger and saying that they hate women. Because the only quality of women that they can attract are immoral women, promiscuous women. At the end of the day, like attracts like. So they only get the type of woman that is similar to how they are. Because they're messed up, they live a degenerate life, that's all they can ever attract. And they don't want their followers to know this. So what do? They create a double standard and say it's different when a man does it. A man can hook up. A man can use women. A man can have his fun. A man can be loyal and have multiple women. And all these other toxic lies that they come out with, because they don't want to be held accountable for living a degenerate lifestyle. Whereas they will point the finger and trash talk women who live that way. And there's nothing wrong with pointing out when somebody lives an immoral life. Of course, we should do that. We should guide people to what is true. But yet they are not doing that to men. They are telling men it's okay to cheat. It's okay to lie. That women can't love you, so you might as well give up. I hate women. Again, that's what he stated. So they're transforming the youth into bitter, angry men so that they can then relate to them. Because all they want to do is exploit you. This is evil. This is satanic. And I want you to see it. But if you're a masculine man, you set healthy boundaries for your personal relationships. You don't tolerate toxic or low integrity women. For me, my principles have no price. And I will stand for the truth at all times. I'm not bending the knee for anyone. And across all the coaching I've been doing, working with clients across the last 2.5 years since I've been on YouTube, I've seen plenty of men date the wrong type of woman over and over again, but then they will complain that all women are cheaters or all women are the same. And this is simply not true. This is like a feminist saying all men are the same, all men cheat. Is that true? Of course not. There are good ones and there are bad ones, and that goes for the men and women alike. I know I've got some ladies listening. About 25% of all of my subscribers now are female. Shout out to the ladies. So women deal with these issues too, men. There are bad men that take advantage and hurt women as well. Yet you can't complain. How would you like it if women pointed the finger at you and said, I hate men. All men are evil. Men can't love you. Men are selfish. That's not true. For the red pill men, yes, it is. But for a righteous, honorable man, of course not. There are good ones and bad ones. And as soon as you follow that advice, things will make sense to you. And some of you may be bitter when you're listening to this because you still need to detox from the red pill. I've had quite a few guys reach out to me recently saying this. They need help unlearning all of the red pill that they've been consuming. You know what the Bible says? Fools despise wisdom. So if you get angry, it's just pointing out the sin that you have in your heart. Let that one breathe. So if you do the same thing over and over again, but expect a different result, it's just the definition of insanity. If you keep dating low quality women, don't be surprised if those relationships always end badly. Because no one's forcing you to commit to them, it's you who's doing it. Because these men, they go to the club, they hook up, and then they think that they can have a serious relationship with a woman who's lived that way. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. When are men going to learn? And I'd say the same thing for the ladies listening. You can't turn a playboy into a husband. So I want you to unlearn this flawed and broken way of living and learn to apply the lessons that I teach throughout my content. Furthermore, I go into detail in my book. I have a chapter on this where I talk about standards and I go deep into the qualities you should look for in a woman, which I can cover this in another video. But for those who want to know, the link is in the description. So once you learn these things, it will shift and change your mindset into a man with character, integrity, and masculinity. So if you keep dating women that hurt you, use you, or betrays you, there's a very high chance that, number one, you lack a sense of purpose as a man. You have nothing to live for. And when a man doesn't have a mission, he doesn't have something that he's working towards that is bigger than himself, that fuels him, he will have no control over his emotions. He's going to have very poor standards because he's lost. And he wants to fit in with the crowd. So the first woman who comes along, whether she's good for you or not, you'll give it a go. And you will never give her a background check because you simply don't care. You've got nothing to lose. You're making a choice based on feelings, not on principle. Number two, you got low self-esteem. So you got low self-esteem, you settle for anyone. So naturally, you'll have low standards. Number three, you enter a relationship from a place of lust and sexual desire. Again, you don't care about marriage because you're not courting with the intention to build a foundation for building a family and marriage. You just want to get into a relationship because you care about sex. You care about what you're taking instead of what you're giving. So your entire outlook on how a relationship is based on selfishness, not on selflessness, which means you're just lusting. So that never ends well. And an honorable woman is going to clock on very soon to who you are, and she will discard you. Number 4, you're codependent, right? You try and fix or save screwed up women. I've seen this a lot with guys that have mummy issues. Guys who grow up with a single mum, right? And they just didn't have a strong father figure. The dad wasn't really present in their life. They want to go and save damaged women or broken women. They will do anything to feel some type of love. That's something you want to change. Number 5, you have unhealed childhood trauma. If you grew up in a very toxic or dysfunctional environment and things happen to you that tainted your ability to trust in others or feel safe around those who were supposed to take care of you as a kid, and you haven't recovered from that, you're going to carry that into your relationships, your friendships, those around you, and you will bleed on everyone. So when you get serious with a woman, you're going to struggle to communicate, have healthy boundaries, relate your emotions, know how to lead a relationship. You're going to have zero clue on how to do any of these things. And you're going to be very fearful, have a lot of anxiety. You are going to close up, not be very trusting. So that unhealed childhood trauma can definitely play a role in men choosing bad women. Because when you're still dealing with your interpersonal issues that you haven't healed from, how can you even look outside of you to make certain that she's right for you when you're dealing with your own stuff? You see what I mean? So that's something where you need to sit down, whether you go to therapy, you pick up a Bible, get right with God. Those are wounds that you need to heal. You need to relearn how to love, relearn how to trust in others, because there are good people out there. Get mentored, get help. You can reach out to me. But if you have those unresolved wounds from your childhood, maybe you had parents that divorced, they cheated on each other, they were abusive, you were taken advantage of, okay? Maybe you were severely bullied, or you went through horrible health crisis, you witnessed a death, you went through famine, or you suffered through a war zone, or something very serious. Any of those situations can seriously damage your ability to see others in a healthy manner. You're afraid of people. You're afraid of relationships. You really need to get that one sorted out, because a lot of these men have grown up in such messed up situations, and that's why they sit there and they have hatred for women, because they don't just hate women, they hate everything. It's a defense mechanism. If I say I hate things and I say I hate everyone, I push everyone away. I don't let anybody get close to me because I don't want to be hurt again how I did when I was a little boy. This is what's happening to these men. And if that's letting the hair stand up on the back of your neck because you can relate, it's okay. You can heal from that, but you need to give it time. And until you get that right, you're not ready for a relationship. If you can't trust yourself, you can't trust others, or you can't trust God, you won't be able to love anyone. So you need to get that sorted. The 5th thing is that you are still emotionally caught up in an ex or have not recovered from previous relationships. If you got cheated on in the past, or, let's say you were involved with a narcissist, whatever happens to be, the relationship didn't work out, it was toxic, you weren't right for each other, and it didn't end well, and you still hold on to that pain, and then you try and go out there and date and meet someone new, you're not going to be able to give 100% of who you are. So you're going to have one foot in, one foot out the door. And this contributes to also lowering your standards, because what happens now is, because you haven't recovered and you're making a decision based on feelings, you think, you know what, I guess I'll just lower my standards and see what's out there. It will take my mind off what I'm dealing with. So in essence, you're using someone new as a coping mechanism. And when this happens, you increase the odds of you getting involved with someone who isn't right for you, or who is most likely doing the same thing to you, right? They haven't recovered from their past relationship, and then they're dating as a rebound, and then it kind of creates this toxic dynamic, and you get into another unhealthy relationship. Because a woman with standards is going to look at you and realize, yep, I can tell this guy's, he's holding back. He's not over his ex. There's something that isn't right. And if you date a woman who's similar, you will notice that too. Something will be off, and she won't be able to be fully engaged with you. Like, you could tell her heart, her mind is somewhere else. And a lot of these guys are just, like in the video, they're just angry at women in the past who wronged them. And they haven't gotten over it. They seek vengeance. So they hold on. They're like Batman, they don't want to let go. It's like, mate, your parents didn't get killed. You're not Bruce Wayne. Calm down. But this is what they do. And then they go out there and date, and it doesn't get to the point where they build an emotional connection or a bond with the woman. Like, they shut down because they're too afraid to be open and vulnerable. They don't want to be hurt how they did before because they haven't learned from the experience. They've convinced themselves that all women are the same. So if you're still not over your ex, you shouldn't be going out there and dating anyway, because you will rebound, you're going to hurt a good woman, or you're going to get involved with a bad one. So don't do it. The sixth thing is that you're not a traditional man, and this wraps the whole thing up. See, when your values are based on what feels good and modern dating advice, like what these red pill men teach you, you are bound to find yourself involved with women who are trashy, who have no character. Okay, very simple. So what is the solution? Well, relearning relationships. The solution lies in developing awareness and applying the necessary wisdom that it takes to discern if a woman is relationship material or not. Don't blame the opposite sex for your terrible relationship choices. Instead, humble yourself and educate yourself on red flags so that you can build your standards, boundaries, and deal breakers, which will protect yourself from getting involved with the wrong woman. And yes, in the beginning part of my book, I have a chapter, 50 pages, which goes into detail on all the red flags you need to know, which will help you avoid such women. Because I don't want you to have a miserable outlook on relationships. I want you to accept things for what they are. There are feminine, traditional, and submissive women worthy of becoming an honorable wife. And there are also women who lack basic moral decency, emotional intelligence, or integrity required for a lifelong commitment. And it's your job as a man to decide if she is suitable for you or not. No one's forcing you to commit to her. You are responsible for who you allow into your circle. Not just your friends, your business partners, but in your romantic relationship, the woman you select to have children with. This is so important. Because once you have children with her, she's a part of your life forever. That bond will never be broken. But it all comes back to you as a man. If you sit there like these red-pilled men and have hatred towards women, it will be impossible for you to recognize the fact that there are good ones and bad ones. The reason why these men cannot make this observation is because they're too far gone in their lust, in their hatred. They're like, if you've ever watched Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader, he was gone. Okay? That was up to him. Okay? He made that choice. They're emotional crybabies and they can't see it. Because misery loves company and they want to sit there and whine all day. Because mummy didn't give them enough love as a kid. Okay? That's what's going on. But what I want you to see is there are good women and there are bad women. And if you know there's bad women, you avoid them. And if you know there's good women, then you focus on finding one good woman who likes you back that you can build a lifelong bond with. It's that simple. You don't need to be bitter. You don't need to be spiteful. It's okay. But this comes back to the man in the mirror. If you are going out every weekend, getting drunk, hooking up, you are addicted to social media, you're insecure, you're lustful, you're vain, you're hanging around the wrong crowd, you're putting yourself at risk because your morals aren't right. And you won't be able to see the things or even understand the things that I'm telling you. But if you're paying attention, there's a chance that you can change. And that's the beautiful thing about life. You can have a come up, a glow up. You can transform. You can always turn the other cheek and go down a different road. That's a wonderful thing. Your story hasn't ended. So if you recognize you're living a bad life, then ultimately you know it's time for that to end. That's why you can't get a good woman. Stop doing that. Live righteously. Pick up a Bible. Eat healthy. Work out. Perfect your skills in your career or build up your side hustle, your business, whatever you're passionate about. Surround yourself with other righteous, like-minded men. Become traditional, which comes from faith. So you need to You need to pick up your Bible. You need to get right with God. It is what it is. And once you do that and you prepare for fatherhood and husbandship, then it's far easier for you to recognize what a good woman is. You see, these red pill men don't want to put in the work and give up that degenerate lifestyle and get right with God, because they've built up a false image on social media, and all of the insecure men who simp after them would fall away if they came out and admitted that they've changed and they don't live that way anymore, because they've built up a lie and they're holding on to it because it's giving them fame. But what would it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? This is what happens when you do things that are not founded on righteousness. It's built upon pride and sin. And these guys just want all eyes on me. But if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, heed my advice. Get right with God. And all these things will be added unto you. It will work out for you. God's ways are perfect. He's a matchmaker. If you want to sit there and say, I hate women too, women can't love you, but then you still want to go out there and interact with women like these red pill men do, you're a hypocrite. But understand, when you live that way, the only woman who would be dumb enough to give you a chance or grow close to you is a girl that has low self-esteem or who is just as immoral as you. Because the good women, they want good men. And these men cannot get good women because they are not good men. That's the lie that red pill coaches sell you. They want you to be hateful like them because they don't want to give up that lifestyle. They know they've damaged themselves to the point that a quality woman is not going to look at them and take them seriously. And they can't admit that on a YouTube video, on their TikToks, on their Instagram, because they've built up a social media following. They've built up their image online around this lie. And they don't want to be honest with you. But that's why I'm making this video, because these men are telling you that they hate women. And then they're sitting there on their table with OnlyFans models and trash women. Of course they're going to feel that way. Of course they're going to have this outlook on life. And then you've got young men sitting there listening. That's why I have a problem with it, because it's deceiving the youth. And I do not want to see men or women led astray. I want to see boys and girls grow up and have marriage, have family, be loyal to one another, love one another. That's what God made us to do, to be there for one another. Men and women, we are made for each other. And that's the foundation of society. A masculine man and a feminine woman. Remember, guys, the man is the head of the home, but the woman is the heart of the home. Isn't that a beautiful thing? But these red pill coaches don't talk about these things because they don't care about love. They don't care about honor. They don't care about family. They care about taking. They care about lust. And they care about themselves. And they just want to live a lie. So let them be. Let me just close with this. The Bible tells us in 2 Timothy 3 verse 3, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. As you can see, what the Bible tells us of how people will be in the end is what we're seeing today. The clock is ticking. God loves you. Christ died for your sins. And that's your one-way ticket to heaven. But if you seek God first, if you come to him, and then you can lay the groundwork to have a righteous life while you're here. And you will know how to be a real man. You will know how to find a real woman, and everybody around you will benefit from being around you, because you will shine brighter than those that are living a lie. And the truth is like a lion. You set it free and it defends itself. So if you want to sit there and take advice from a man who hates women, go ahead. I'm making this video for the youth, for the young men. Frederick Douglass has one of my favorite quotes, and I'm probably going to repeat this in other videos. He said, it is better to raise strong boys than to fix broken men. There are some guys out there that are too far gone. They've got one foot in the grave. So the key is the youth. Young boys, young men need to hear this. Listen up. Don't waste your most virile years, your most fertile years, being hateful towards women. Find a good one and live a peaceful life. And remember, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Proverbs 13 verse 20. With that said, I wish you all the best. God bless all of you and your families.